internet is used for many reasons. School, banking, hospitals use them to keep records, and first responders use them to take calls. On December 27th, 2018, CenturyLink, a major internet provider, went down and gave no reason why. CenturyLink users from New York to California were without internet. While this may seem insignificant, first responders were not able to take calls. I also work for Idaho Central Credit Union, and on this day, we were without internet. We were very limited to what we could do to help our members. Today, I will go over the CenturyLink crisis taking place on December 27th, 2019. First, I will discuss the crisis, and second, I will discuss how it should have been handled. The nationwide internet outage started on Thursday evening, December 26, 2018. When the outage began, CenturyLink notified the public via social media. They explained engineers and technicians at CenturyLink had identified a network element that had affected their service. They didn't give any estimated time, but later they let us know that it was going to be about 4 hours. As we now know, the usage took place almost over 2 days. Although there was notice given, people were without internet access. Therefore, they couldn't check in on their social media to see what was going on. After almost 3 days, CenturyLink finally released information stating there was a bad networking card that has caused the entire system to go down. Chairman Pai of the Federal Communications Commission announced that the FCC will be investigating CenturyLink. He states the CenturyLink service outage is therefore completely unacceptable, and its breadth and duration are particularly troubling. This situation was handled very unprofessionally, and the public should have been notified otherwise. Not only was personal internet affected, but in some states, 911 calls were not being reached. So during the winter, this can be catastrophic in some states. Driving conditions in some parts of the country can be very hazardous, no matter how slow you're going during the winter, and not being able to call for an ambulance can be the difference between life and death. The emergency lines thankfully gave out information allowing the public to text 911. They were also told they can call the non-emergent local numbers. Hospitals were also not able to get access to their records. Medical records contain everything from past histories, medication dosages, and different things like that. My mother was affected by doctors who didn't know what they were doing and was overdosed on certain medications, and it was quite terrifying. This should never happen. There were those who would argue that CenturyLink was in no wrong. Technical glitches happen all the time. No matter what the reason is, when it begins, the public needs to know, and they need to be properly notified. CenturyLink should have reached out to the members by calling them to notify them of the situation and keep them updated. Information should not have been given out through secondary sources such as the news channel. One could also argue that we should not be as reliant on the internet. This day and age, having records on an electronic device is more convenient and beneficial to everyone than it is harmful. With online records, doctors are able to easily access multiple records without having to wait for them being transferred or mailed, different things like that. Traditional information can be time-consuming, and it is much harder to replace a lost paper than it is to track down a lost file. CenturyLink severely let down their customers. They gave very general information about the outage. They barely made an attempt to contact the public as well. CenturyLink has a lot to make up to their customers to regain their trust. They could have avoided a large part of the disappointment had they communicated better. Thank you.